Okay. Oh, he's not. Okay, let's slide this down.
Oh.
Yeah. So here's the bottom chunk. You multiply. You guys good? That corner's all great? Fantastic.
30 plus 30.
Yes.
20, 14, that's 2 plus 2.
We're over ahead?
Oh, yeah.
Division. Yes, we're good. We're good. Jordan. Answers. Okay. Nice.
Oh, I did this wrong.
Which one?
This one.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I thought it was a 0.
Oh, no, that's a 10.
Okay.
You're good. The 1 and the 0 were just close together.
Yeah.
It's a 10.
Oh, I didn't put the minus. Oh, no. Yeah, this one.
Which one?
Yeah, this one. I got a 5.
So what did you do?
Negative
30 divided by 2.
Which is 25, right?
No, divide. 30 by 2.
Oh. So if 2 times 10 is 20.
Yeah, 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times
Yeah.
5 is 10. $30 divided by 2 is
Oh,
15. And then divide 15 by 5
It's 3.
is 3.
I got it now. That's yep, this one's right.
Okay, cool. Okay, so hello, Cheyenne. Cheyenne, who is a famous person from history you'd like to have lunch with? Like a famous dead person that you'd like to have lunch with. Okay. If you think of someone, let me know. Okay, so we're going to keep going. We're going to move on. We're a review of bed mass. So at some point in your educational career, whether that was, I don't know, somewhere in middle school, you guys would have learned that there is a correct order to handle math in. If you haven't found this page, find me this page. Operations in math are just mathematical processes, or an operation is a mathematical process. So things like adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, roots, exponents, there are more than just these things. But for those of you who are, for those of you who are interested in taking more math, you'll learn more about all of those. Oh, I'm recording. Okay, good. And so there is a proper order for these. Order of operations tells us what to do first when we've got a bunch of different operations. So BEDMAS it's an acronym. It's a tool that we use. Each letter in BEDMAS stands for something else. B stands for brackets. E stands for exponents. D and M stand for division and multiplication. A and S stand for addition and subtraction. So this is the order in which we do stuff. And then if we have brackets, then what's going on inside that bracket is going to, BEDMAS applies to it as well. So just to make sure we're all up with the notation, the brackets look like this, or like this, They're square or they're curved. They mean the same thing. I mean, technically speaking, these ones down here aren't actually called brackets. They're called something else. Does anyone know what we call the curved ones? Yeah? These are parentheses. Good. Parentheses. But we just kind of call them all brackets. We lump them all together. They do the same thing. Technically speaking, the name is different. So you do whatever's in the brackets first, following the rest of BEDMAS. And then we've got E. E stands for exponents. Exponents look like this. If I had some number, let's say 2, and I put it to, if I have this notation here, so I have another 2 that is higher up, or we call that a superscript. That it represents an exponent. It tells us that 2 has to be multiplied by itself this many times. Roots also show up in the exponent section. So if I wanted to take the square root of something, or if I had this notation, okay, guys, Hamid and Abdullah, this is squaring something, or this is an exponent. This symbol is a root, and they both get lumped in here because, as you'll learn probably in grade 10, these two are actually the same thing. This is just a special kind of exponent. And then division and multiplication show up next, whether it's actually divided like this or whether it's written as a fraction. Multiplication, whether it's an X, a dot between two numbers, the brackets everywhere. And division and multiplication, it's important to remember that when you're doing multiplication, because multiplication and division are mathematically the same thing, when all you have, if all you have, is division and multiplication, we always go left to right. When all you've got is division and multiplication, we work left to right. And the same thing with addition and subtraction. Addition and subtraction are actually the same thing. Subtraction is just addition with a negative number. Addition is just subtraction of negatives, or subtraction is just addition of negatives. Like these are, and we've looked at it kind of already, these two are the same thing. So again, if you also just have addition and subtraction, we go left to right here too. And I mean, the symbols are what the symbols are. They don't get much more straightforward than addition or subtraction. So I'm just going to do 4 examples, and then I'm going to come around and I'm going to help where needed as we review BEDMAS. Some of you guys are already, you're like, I'm done with BEDMAS. I'm moving on. What I want, those of you who have skipped ahead, I want you to go back to the BEDMAS. I want you to check your answers with my answer key. If everything you've done is correct, then by all means. If you want to continue, you can continue, and God will float around and help those of you who are working ahead. But I want you to check your answers with me first. So flip back here and let's talk. I want to make sure, we got to make sure that as you guys are working ahead, you're still doing it correctly. So I've got an example here. This one is just multiplication and division. I'm multiplying these two things together. I'm dividing by this. And so when all we have is multiplication and division, I just go left to right. We've got our multiplication tables. We've got some of you have this stuff memorized. That's great. 4 times 4 is 16. And how I want you to do these BEDMAS problems is I want you to change one thing at a time to show me your work. So if in fact 4 times 4 is 16, what we're going to do is the thing that we changed, we did the 4 times 4, that is 16. We're going to put the 16 beneath where we did the 4 times 4, and anything that hasn't happened yet, we're going to write down next to it. We simplified the 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, and I haven't yet divided by 2. I want you to show me your work. I do not want you to do things in your head, because all I have to do is make the numbers slightly more complicated, and now all of a sudden you can't do it in your head, And if you haven't practiced a method, you're going to get stuck. So 4 times 4 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. I heard from the back. And you're done. This next one. What does BEDMAS say we do first in this next question? We do the division first. There are no brackets. There are no exponents. D and M come next. There is no multiplication. It's just division. So this needs to get dealt first. 4 divided by 2 is divided by 2. Divided by 2. 4 divided by 2. Yeah, you guys are multiplying. 4 divided, yeah, I know. See, this is what happens. Don't trust the guy next to you if he just tells you an answer. Maybe he's trying to mess you up. Division, 4 divided by 2 is 8 because 2 times 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And so this is the thing we simplify. And anything else we haven't done yet just gets added along for the ride. And now we can do this last step. 4 plus 2 is 6. And again, you've got your number lines. The next one. Now all of a sudden we've got brackets there. The numbers are the same. I still have 4 and 4 added. I still am dividing by 2. But the difference here is these brackets tell me to do what first instead? We're going to add the 4 and the 4 together first. 4 plus 4 is 8. So we're going to simplify what's up here in that bracket. Right beneath it what it is. And now we're going to write down the stuff that hasn't happened yet. And now we're going to go ahead and do what needs to be done with this last piece. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And the last one. The last one, we need to be careful with the things like the last one because this last one is making a big assumption about how you read it. When you have a bunch of math going on inside the numerator of a fraction, there is an invisible set of something up there. And if it helps, I want you to draw them in. When you've got a bunch of stuff in the numerator, what's actually around them is a set of brackets. And to help you out, I want you to get into the habit of putting them in there. When there's a bunch of math in the numerator, treat it like it has brackets around it. Actually put the bracket there. And then we can go ahead and start doing some of this stuff. The brackets were implied. Now they're obviously there. So the first step in the BEDMAS here is going to be to do what? Yeah, 10 plus 3 is 13 and minus 1. You're going left to right. That's great. So this top bracket is going to simplify to 12. And we're just going to write down everything we haven't done yet. Divided by 6 plus 2 times 2. Okay, what are we going to do next? BEDMAS says what happens? Brackets are done, exponents are done. D and M stand for division and multiplication. So let's do those. 12 divided by 6 is 2. And because we've got division here and we've got multiplication here, you can actually combine these two things into one step. 2 times 2 is 4. And the thing that hasn't happened yet is this addition sign in the middle. That guy is just going to come get plopped right down in there. And what are we going to get? 6. I've got one more that I want to show you. I took a screenshot of it yesterday. It's a fantastic example of why it's important to go left to right and follow BEDMAS. Here's a question for you. I'm going to write it like this. I'd like you to write it here with me. Okay, another example. How do I do this? I mean, we're following BEDMAS, right? So the first letter in BEDMAS is B. B for brackets. Are there brackets there? Yeah. So let's do the math inside the brackets. It's 3. So we're just going to write it as it's written. 6 divided by 2. Because of how this is written, this implies that there's multiplication going on in there. I'm going to leave the 3 inside a set of brackets. Now, all we have left is division and multiplication. But we need to go left to right. Because if we don't, we're actually going to get a different answer here. If we do it properly, what comes next? The 6 divided by 2 comes next. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. We haven't done anything with this 3 yet. And then the last step is to actually multiply these two things together. 3 times 3 is? Sorry? 3 times 3 is? 9. This is the, and you can actually see, you can see on my screen the time that I screenshotted it. This literally was yesterday. This is, I saw this online. I follow a bunch of different math pages, and I saw this meme online, and I was like, maybe my students will appreciate this. How did she get 1? That's a great question. That is exactly what I'm putting up here. How did she get 1? Does anyone want to take a guess how she did it? Yes? 1 plus 2 is 3. Then she did this multiplication first. She said, that's 3. This is 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is? And then 6 divided by 6. She got 1. This is the kind of thing, like, it's silly, but it shows up on those, you won this contest. Do the skill testing question. This is the kind of crap that they throw into those kind of things, and if you get it wrong, you don't actually get to claim the prize. One is, and there was underneath, the thing I didn't take a screenshot of was the argument that was going on beneath this post. People going back and forth explaining how it's full, how it's not 1, and how it is 9, and how people think other people were stupid because it was actually 1. Like, this Facebook is wild. I think it's on Facebook. It's wild for crap like this, especially if you follow math pages like I do. The people arguing back and forth. Something that you just did very simply. Left to right, okay? We're going to do 1 plus 2 is 3. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Just the crazy stuff that you get in the comment section of Facebook is delightful. I saw that. I was like, you know what? I should show my students because this is what we're doing today. So there it is. That is, in fact, 9. It is not, in fact, 1. Left to right is a really important part of BEDMAS to remember. So that's it. I'm going to take I'll walk around. I'll help where needed. You have your multiplication tables. You've got your number lines for adding. Before you continue jumping ahead, those of you guys who have already done so, come check my answer key. On your markets, go. And I will help where I can and where it's needed.